Hello everyone, Vijay over here from ACAD. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for making time to attend this live webinar. Today, we will be talking about a very interesting topic, which is on the comparison between GstarCAD and AutoCAD Ltd. I believe most of you should be pretty familiar with AutoCAD Ltd already. So, through this live webinar, you will be able to find out how similar GstarCAD and AutoCAD Ltd are, and also some of the tools that GstarCAD has, which you will not be able to find it in AutoCAD Ltd. Now, let's look at today's agenda. To start off the webinar, we will be looking at the background of GstarCAD and a bit of a history behind it, followed by a short comparison between GstarCAD and AutoCAD Ltd, and then we will end it off with a live demonstration to further highlight the differences between GstarCAD and AutoCAD Ltd. For your information, GstarCAD has been in the market for over 27 years, which is based in Suzhou. They have a total of 4 R&D centers with over 150 developers just to make sure that the software brings new technologies to the market every single year. They also have a total of 100 distributors around the world. Over at this slide, it shows an overview of the user base for GstarCAD, both in Asia and Europe. In fact, GstarCAD has a huge user base in Japan and Korea for Asia, and they also have a huge presence in Poland and Germany for Europe. And as for Singapore, we have quite a number of users using GstarCAD already. Over at this slide, I have already highlighted a few of them to you. Now, we will look at some of the comparison between GstarCAD and AutoCAD Ltd. When we talk about software, one of the most important aspects is file format and compatibility. Both GstarCAD and AutoCAD Ltd are DWG DXF compatible, which means that we won't have any issues in opening and saving of files between these two software. This also means that files created in GstarCAD can be opened in AutoCAD Ltd, and vice versa. When we create a file using AutoCAD Ltd, we can also open it in GstarCAD. The second point I want to highlight over here will be collaboration tools. Both software provides the tool set for collaboration between not only designers, but also non-designer with no access to any CAD tools. This also means that basically anyone who is given access to the files can view it on devices such as tablet and mobile phone. The third point, and also the most important comparison, will be in terms of licensing. GstarCAD operates on a perpetual licensing option, which provides the user a permanent license that does not require any renewal, but still able to continue to use the software permanently. On the other hand, AutoCAD Ltd is a subscription-based software that requires the user to renew every single year in order to continue using it. GstarCAD also offers flexibility in terms of switching licenses in between hardware. GstarCAD licenses come in both softcode and dongle form. For softcode license, user can activate the license by entering the softcode on the PC and return the license back if they want to switch the license to another hardware. For PC needing to run without any internet connection, user can choose to activate the license using plug and play dongle. Last but not least, GstarCAD comes with a set of express tools, or what we call innovative tools, that is only available in GstarCAD and not found in AutoCAD Ltd. Later during the webinar, I will pinpoint a few of them and show it to you. To further highlight the differences between GstarCAD and AutoCAD LT, let's now proceed with the live demonstration. At the top portion of the screen, you can see the interface of AutoCAD LT 2019, and just below it, you can see the interface of GstarCAD 2019. As you can see, after comparing both software, the setup is pretty much similar. Both software offer sets of tools in basically the same manner and layout. Now, let's examine the tools within the software. Starting from the Home tab, you will be able to see a tool called QR code and barcode, which you will not be able to find it in AutoCAD LT. Now let's examine how this two tool works in GstarCAD. I'll first click on QR code, and then from the 2D code creator dialog box, under the input text region, you can input the text that you want to convert into a QR code. And then over at the pick object section, you can actually choose any objects like text, blocks, or 2D code that is already created in your drawing and use that as a reference to build your QR code. So for example, now I will just clear the existing data, and then I will just click on the text button and select the GstarCAD 2019 text as the reference, and then you'll be able to see the text appearing on the dialog box like this. Okay, the next thing I want to highlight over here will be the error level. This error level parameter determines the accuracy of the QR code being created. So I will just select 7% for the accuracy level, and then insert, and just put the QR code onto the drawing like this, and there you go, you have your QR code. Okay, next you can click on barcode from the ribbon, and then from the barcode creator dialog box, you can determine the dimension of the barcode being created, as well as the data that you want to convert into a QR code over at the box on the right hand side. So I will just type in GstarCAD 2019 as the data, and then insert it onto the drawing like this. There you go, you have your barcode. On the same tab, you will be able to find another tool here called Freescale that is not available in AutoCAD LT. This tool over here can scale object using three methods: non-uniform scaling, rectangle scale, and freescale. Let's look at how GstarCAD manage these three methods. Now, we will use another example to show this. So from this drawing, you can see I have created a few rectangles, and on the leftmost rectangle, you can see there are some lines and patterns already created within it. So we will use that to showcase how to do non-uniform scale. So now we just need to execute the freescale command. Window select the object that you want to do the scaling, and then enter. Select the base point, and then for the X scale factor, I'll just type in 2, and then for the Y scale factor, I'll just type in 3. And there you go, you have your object being scaled up by the scale factor that you have determined just now. Let me reverse back the step. Okay, now I will use the middle rectangle, which is the bigger rectangle in the middle, to showcase how to do rectangle scale. So I'll just click on the command freescale, select the object that you want to scale, enter, and then press R to do rectangle scale, and then select the bottom edge of this rectangle, and then move your cursor. As you move your cursor, you can see the scaling effect already shown on the rectangle, and then after that press C to copy the pattern, and then select the top edge. Okay, now you can see the patterns appearing in the rectangle. Okay, now I will show the last method, which is the freescale. As you can see on the right, there are two rectangles tilted at an angle. So if I'm to apply a hatch onto the tilted rectangle, for example, I'll just click on hatch and then select the patterns and change it to bricks. Change the scale to 3 and then apply it to the tilted rectangle like so. You will see that the pattern that is being created within the tilted rectangle is not aligned to the angle. So let's look at how freescale can rectify this problem. So I'll just click on freescale, select the object that you want to scale, and then press F for freescale, enter. Now they will prompt you to select the source reference frame, which is just the outer frame of the selected object, like this, and then press C to copy. Okay, now we just need to select the outer frame of the tilted rectangle, and there you go, you have the pattern being created within the tilted rectangle with the pattern aligned to the angle of the rectangle. On the Insert tab, you will be able to find another tool here called Attribute Increment. This tool is not available in AutoCAD LT. It allows the user to specify attribute of block with incremental value and to modify attribute value of blocks according to the sort method. It can also increase block attribute value that contains a number or letter. Let's look at how GstarCAD uses this attribute increment to help the user. Over at this example, you can see a floor plan, and then on the left side, you can see 4 blocks containing A as the value. So let's say the user wants to change the value. They will have to double click on the block and type in the value one by one manually and change it like so. So if there is a lot of blocks that needs to be changed, it will take the user a lot of time to do so. Let's look at how GstarCAD manage this using attribute increment. Just click on attribute increment command, select the block, and then OK. Windows select all the blocks that needs to be changed, enter, and then you will be able to see all the blocks will be changed with incremental alphabetical order being assigned to the blocks. We will also notice that there is an Express Tool tab, and most of the tools over here are unique and we won't be able to find it in AutoCAD LT. The first tool that I want to highlight over here is Statistic Submission. This tool over here allows the user to calculate the total sum of all the digits that precede any text in the drawing. Let's look at how this works in GstarCAD. So in this example, you can see a floor plan, and within the floor plan, you can see some digits appearing in the text. Let's now use the tool to calculate the total sum and place it into the drawing. So let's click on Statistic Submission, and then Windows select all the text, enter, and then on the statistic dialog box, you can see the total sum calculated is actually 185. And then we just click on the fill in button to place the result onto the drawing like so, and then exit, and here you go, you have the total sum calculated and being placed onto your drawing. Next, we will look at a tool here called Area Table. This tool over here allows the user to automatically dimension and count the area of closed regions or objects and export the result into a table that can be placed onto the drawing. For example, in this drawing, you can see a few closed regions being formed by lines, rectangle, and circles. We will now use the tool to calculate the area of all these closed regions. So let's click on Area Table tool, and then on the Area Table dialog box, you just need to do some simple setup. After you are done, just click on the Select Object button and place the table on the right like this, and select the closed region to calculate the area like this. Once you are done, right click and enter. Now let's edit the shape of the rectangle. You can see once I drag and increase the size of the rectangle, the value on the table changes as well. So any changes to the shape on the drawing, the number of the area will change accordingly. This will definitely save the designer a lot of hassle and time. Now let's look at another tool over here called Graphic Compare. This tool over here can help designer to compare two different revisions of drawing to find out the differences, and can also display the details of any changes at the current workspace of your drawing in real time. Let's look at how this works in GstarCAD. So in this drawing, you can see two different revisions of drawing side by side on the same file. Let's use the Graphic Compare tool to find out the differences between these two revisions. Let's click on Graphic Compare, and then on the dialog box here, you have to choose the first revision of the drawing by clicking on the first button here. Select the drawing like this, enter, select the base point, and now the dialog box shows that 154 objects are selected. Now let's select the second revision. And then select the base point, and now it shows that 159 objects are selected. So over here you can see that there's actually some differences highlighted by the numbers over here. The next thing that you need to do is you can choose between inserting the differences onto your current document, or you can export the differences into a file. So now let's just use the default settings and just click OK, and then place the differences onto the right of the two drawings. And now you can see the differences between the two revisions is being highlighted using red color like this. So this is actually quite an useful tool to actually allow the user to compare any two drawings and list out the differences in details. Another tool that I want to highlight over here is called Drawing Log. This is not a very complicated tool, but it's an extremely useful tool when you need it. There will be situations where we need to share files with external parties for viewing purposes, but do not want our design to be copied by others. Using the Drawing Log tool, we can prevent this from happening. For example, in this document, you can see the floor plan on it. So example, if I'm going to change anything on the drawing, I can just double click and then edit it like so. So now let's proceed to log the files. So let's click on Drawing Log, and then on the pop-up menu you can see they prompt you to save the file before you log it. So let's click OK, and then Windows select all the things that you want to log and then enter. Okay, now if you try to edit, you will find that you will not be able to edit anything on the drawing because it has been converted into a block that is not editable. So using this Drawing Log tool, you are able to protect your data and make it safe. Last but not least, I would like to highlight two tools over here. They are located on the status bar. The first tool is called Auto Layer. This tool predefines the association between object type and the layer that will be drawn in the drawing. The system will automatically switch the current layer according to the command being used for the object type. Now, let's look at how this works in GstarCAD. In this drawing, you can see a power drill, and then with the hatch region and the dimension already created. But this two object is still not created on its own layer. As you can see from the layer property manager, the layers are not created yet for the dimension and the hatch. Let's now look at how this auto layer tool is able to help us to speed up the creation of the layer. Okay, the first step, we need to go to the status bar, right click on auto layer, and then go to settings. On the top left hand corner, you have to create a layer settings for the hatch and the dimension. So let's click on this icon, and then over at the command column, you have to type in the command that is being used for creating a dimension, which is DIMLINEAR. And then we have to give a name for the dimension, and then we need to set a color as well. Okay, so we are done with the dimension layer. The next thing, we need to create another layer setting for the hatch. Okay, so we are setting the color as well for the hatch region. Okay, once we are done with the configuration of the layers, we have to enable it on the top right hand corner, and then OK. Okay, now let's take away the dimension and the hatch. As we create the dimension, you can see straight away the dimension will be created on its own layer. Same for the hatch region. Okay, so we just create a hatch over here, enter, OK, and you can see the hatch is also created on its own layer as well. And then from the layer property manager, you can see the layers are also created for them. Okay, so you can see auto layer is a very good and efficient tool for us to speed up the creation of the layers for our drawing. The last tool that I would like to talk about will be Symmetric Draw. Normally in AutoCAD LT, when you need to draw any symmetrical shape, you need to draw the first half of the shape and then either use copy or mirror to get the other half of the shape. Using the Symmetric Draw tool in GstarCAD, you can get the other half of the symmetric shape automatically while you are drawing. In this example, you can see an unfinished drawing. So we will look at how this Symmetric Draw tool can help us to finish this symmetrical shape. First, we have to go to the status bar, right click on Symmetric Draw tool, and then select settings. Enable the Symmetric Draw tool on the top left hand corner, and then over here it lists a group of objects that is supported. So we just have to enable all the objects, and then pick the axis, select this vertical line, OK, and then as we draw, you can see the drawing is actually drawing symmetrically, like so. Okay, so you can see this Symmetric Draw tool is actually quite useful if you are dealing with symmetrical shapes. That's all for my presentation.